Let us do a little bit more critical thinking together, shall we? I've just listened to the latter part of this Hans Wilhelm reincarnation on YouTube, and I would suggest that if any of you have the time and you like critically thinking and you have an unbiased open mind and you're not religiously inclined, because this discourse comes from a Christian religiously inclined person. And so what I want to say about this is that the only people really that we have got around the world to look for, to give us guidance as to what we should do and what we shouldn't do, because we don't have the intellect to work that one out for ourselves. We don't have the intellect to work out that I shouldn't steal from people, because that's going to cause anger, it's going to cause resentment, it may cause violence, and everyone's going to get to know that I'm a thief, and then they're all going to go, oh look out, here comes Aaron the thief, and it isn't going to fare well for me, is it? So this is something as children we can work out. If you just want to beat up on people for no reason, then very soon you're going to learn that lesson too, aren't you? It isn't rocket science, people. And so what I'm saying here in this video, why the fuck do we need Jesus, 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 Buddha, Buddha, Buddha? Why can't we be our own Jesus? Why can't we be our own Buddha? The Jesus and the Buddha is our facility and ability to be able to think as a human being. When you look at Jesus, from what I can recollect about the New Testament, it wasn't even begun to be written until 40 years after he died. How's anybody going to be going to themselves, oh, I remember Jesus said this to me, and I remember Jesus said that to me, and I'm going to write it down, and that's true what Jesus said. I really expected to believe that. We're not told that scribes were following around and writing everything down that Jesus said. And even if that is the case, then it's down to the scribe, isn't it? It's down to the motive of the scribe, whether he was a real Jesus devotee, whether he's going to write down exactly what he heard. And even if he did, then come the time of Constantine, in about 310 AD, he decided that, right, gather up all of these religious scriptures, which apparently there's about 150 of them. There's only 60 in the Old and New Testament, and so they've done away with like 90 of them that didn't suit their agenda. So can we not see then that the only remaining scriptures in the Bible are those which suit the agenda, which was the Constantinian agenda at the time, because it wanted to have power over the people? Why can't we see that? On the premise of that alone, we should throw that book into the fire. Because what we should, as so-called truth seekers, have worked out by now, that anything that we're privy to in this world is only that in which they, the manipulators, want us to be. Because otherwise, there wouldn't be 2 million scrolls, scriptures and books in the vault, in the Vatican, that nobody except them can see. Why? Because there's different opinions there. There's different stories that tell a different variety of beginning and creation and all this sort of thing. There's a whole lot of shit that went on that they don't want us to know. But they want us to know about baby Jesus. And all these idiots flock in and creaming their pants over baby Jesus. Now, I quote Jesus on lots of occasions, because I use certain metaphors which are logical. Become like babies, because unless you become like babies or children and look at the world from the perspective as children do, with clarity and without clouding of perception, without bias and without projections. They just look at the world how their brain, their pure brain, sees it. And so this is a very good metaphor. So there is some good stuff in there, but sprinkle a few good bits in there. But there's a lot of stuff that we shouldn't be adhering to. And what I'm coming to here is, I'm speculating now, should we consider that Jesus, the book about Jesus and the Bible, is given to us by them that want to control and manipulate us, because it is an advocate of being submissive, being forgiving, turning the other cheek, forgive them for they not know what they do, and all of that stuff. What does that make of the human being? It makes us very easily to be herded. And if we find anything at all objectionable, we just turn this cheek so they can slap the other one. And we just forgive, and we just love. We just love, we love, we forgive, and all the rest of it. Look what's happening to us. Then if we look at the postmodernists these days, what they are advocating, it's the same old crock of shit. That we shouldn't have anything to say about anybody because we don't want to be upsetting people. We don't want to be causing other people to have a little bit of agitation in here. We don't want to be saying that you should really have a little bit more experience, or you should really lose a bit of weight, or you shouldn't really be so aggressive, or you shouldn't really be so submissive. You know, oh, he said I'm submissive. And you go to your snitching room in university. They're calling me submissive. I don't like that. This is where it's going. It's pathetic. In every single region across this globe now, with this postmodernist agenda and with the Jesus thing going down, it all seems to me that it makes perfect sense. These people that are exercising power over the world, they've done all the book burning, they've burnt all the libraries. They've killed all the civilizations that knew something about other beings, the Mayans, for instance. And so the Egyptians all mysteriously faded away without a trace, nothing written about them, just a few scratchings on the wall, which they interpret as this and that, and oh, it's only this and it's only that. And so you can see there's a massive agenda to suppress what we know, to take us away from the real knowledge of what we are and were and the history. And so, again then, I'm saying about Jesus, he sounds all nice and kind. Sounds like a great guy. You know, I'd like to hang out with him. Peace, peace, turn the other cheek, come and share some bread and wine with me. Yeah, sounds like a great guy. But then you see, if there's a bunch of blokes that want to rob you and they come and beat you up and take your gold, where's Jesus going to be? He's going to be curled up in a ball like a pussy. Or just going to be like that. Beat me, like some sort of sadomasochist getting a boner from being punished. Because it's all in the name of love. It's all good. And it's all what God wants. Being submissive, being forgiving. I don't think that's going to work very well for us in the long run, people. Slowly, we are having our humanism bled away from us. In this Wilhelm reincarnation thing, where he's saying that we should look at all the people that cause agitation within us. And what he's saying is that when you look at the world out there, anything, any single thing that causes you agitation, makes you want to get angry or this, that and the other, it's because you've got unresolved stuff in you. What's that saying? It's Catholic guilt. It's saying that if you find somebody offensive because they're calling you any cuss under the sun, something in you, you've got to deal with it. It's not their fault. I'm the guilty one. If somebody wants to commit a more horrendous crime on you or on anybody else, and you find it an abomination, oh, you've got to look back in here and look in here. Oh, where's the deficit in me? It's all me. It's my pain. I'm feeling my pain. I'm only projecting that onto the world. I shouldn't really be feeling this pain because I've got unresolved issues. This is what this shit says. And this is what the Bible says, the New Testament. Forgive and forget. And just allow them, if they bum you once, let them bum you again. Let them bum you till their balls hurt. And then forgive them. Am I making any sense? Am I seeing this bollocks for what it is? It doesn't sound right to me. I think that people should judge. I think they should hold people to account. And I think in lots of instances there should be an eye for an eye. Like there is in this world. And like there was more prolifically. But because the postmodernists are getting a firmer grip on the world, then it's becoming less and less, i.e. capital punishment. Britain done away with capital punishment in about 1954. America, in lots of states, they still do it. There are thousands of people on death row. They are still operating under the eye for the eye, aren't they? And yet, they allow all these Christian churches to be built which say, forgive, don't judge, turn the other cheek. So, it seems to me that the powers that be, and these people are operating under the realm and jurisdiction of the demiurge, Jehovah, the abomination of the Old Testament. Because he was a judge, he was a murderer, he was jealous, he wanted it all his own way. He wanted the Jews to be absolutely submissive unto his 10 commandments, otherwise he'd be furious and ordering them to kill each other and all the rest of it. And so look around at the world then. What have you got? You've got a replication of the laws of Jehovah. An eye for an eye. Very little tolerance, no forgiveness, complete domination, omnipotence, and suppression. If you think anything different, if you start worshipping that cow, I'm going to fire and brimstone down on your assholes. You see, what's happening? If we don't have those particular opinions and ways of looking at the world as they do, they want to suppress us. I personally like taking psychedelics. You will not take any more psychedelics and experience other things than Jesus and Jehovah. I don't want to be a slave. Right, arrest that man, put him in jail. He's a ponce. He's not obeying our orders. He's not obeying Jehovah's orders. You see, it's all wrong, isn't it? And so, in contrast to that then, what we've been served up and what everybody's banging on about, particularly America, they're so entrenched in Jesus Christ that the minds are so diminutive. They couldn't find their way out of a freaking paper bag if they had never had anybody to hold their hand. This is it. What hope have we got of humanity being able to make the right decisions? I've seen so many Americans say, well, how would we know what to do is right if we don't have Jesus and the Bible. I would say take that man and put him down. Is there anybody else out there with that opinion that needs some fucked up dogma by which to rule their lives because they can't think for themselves? Okay, right. Oh, goodness me, there's an enormous amount of you. Okay, take them all away and bury them in that trench. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, goodness me, look at the world. Just fucking sheep. They deserve everything that they're getting. Because they can't think for themselves. They've got no fucking fluff on the bodies, but they're complete sheep. And so when you look at the world then, it seems to me that somebody had to take control. Because otherwise, there'd just be an enormous amount of sheep just milling around, slipping arses and chewing on crud. That's all there'd be. And so somebody looked at it and went, fucking hell, what are we going to do with this? Okay, let's write a book about a god and we'll give them that. And then you give them that, and then it's kind of like, they're still not listening to us. We've told them that we're going to kill them all unless they listen to us. They're still not listening. Okay, so let's send the Son of God then. You know, look at all the films and cartoons we've got. We've always got the Son of, haven't we? It's just a freaking replication of the Bible. We've got the Son of God. What's going to happen next? Are we going to get the Son of the God? It's pathetic and childlike. But that's what everybody swallows. That's what everybody needs. Because they can't make rational decisions for themselves. They can't use an intellect because they don't have one. So they need herding. And they're getting exactly what they deserve. And they're being herded towards exactly what they deserve. Complete and utter enslavement. What else could you do with them? What's your perspective? Oh, well, it's because they've been doing this and it's because they've been doing that. I think you'll find it really isn't because they've been doing this and they've been doing that. I mean, of course, they have been doing this and that. But what do you do when you've got retards as a species? You've got to do this and that. Otherwise there'd be freaking chaos and there'd be no order. And there'd be nothing manufactured and nobody producing food and buildings and all that. You've got to get it perfectly regimented. So what you do is, you go, okay, we're going to need an education system. We're going to need some sort of farming, mental farming. So we create these educational systems all over the world and we teach them the same shit. They can't fucking think for themselves. Very, very few can. The ones that can, they're kind of like a spanner in our works because they want to do stuff that we don't want them to do. So we'll suppress them and we'll kill them and we'll just herd all the idiots. And that's it. So at the end of the day, I mean, what can we conclude about this? When billions of people are reading these books and believing it and swearing blind by it and getting all agitated about it, oh, Jesus Christ, Allah, Allah, Allah. What do we want as thinking people? What are we going to do with them? We're going to do with them what they've been doing. And eventually they'll chip all their dumbasses. And they'll get them walking in a particular way from the cradle to the grave, just like automated machines. That's all that's going to happen. Why? Because that has to be the destiny of the human being. If the human being could think, if it was more evolved, then it would never have stood for all this shit. Hang on. It says in here, God loves you, and yet, because you don't agree with his dogma, he says, the man on your right, take a sword out and stick it in the man on your left. Why? I just, what you said, it just don't seem right to me. Did you not ask Abraham to just put his son on a rock and kill him? That don't sound right to me. No. Did you not slaughter thousands because they wanted to have freedom, i.e. they thought that Baal sounds like a decent god, nice shiny golden cow. I'd rather worship that than you cruel bastard. No, you're not allowed. You see? And so over time, all these people that wanted to worship Baal, God killed them all. Anybody else that wants to think about anything else or worship something else, they kill them all. Except there's a couple now of gangs. One's the Christians and one's the Muslims, because they need it to be that way. Because they're tired of killing us all. They create so many wars, but it's not doing it. So what they've got to do is they've got to get us to kill ourselves. And look what they've done. Completely indoctrinated the vast majority of the so-called human being, so they hate with a vengeance somebody else with another dogma. Are we supposed to respect that? Are we supposed to value that? Does the universe want that to continue? I think the universe would look down at Earth and go, what the fuck? I created this beautiful globe with all this marvellous diversity, all these wonderful things to do, and these people just walk around like that. They can't see any of it. They can't see the beauty or the grandeur in anything. Just stomping over all the flowers and the beautiful creatures and all that sort of thing, killing everything and eating it, just like taking, never putting anything back. Why would the universe want to continue with that? I think the universe would just want to go, let's call it a day on this. And like God would get his hands and just get hold of this globe and just like a pottery person with a ball of clay, just like pound it into something else and start again.